Welcome to the second part of Catholic Internet Street Evangelism, talking to another YouTube atheist, this time over voice chat. His name is Philosober or Philosober. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, to be honest. But he's going to be voice chatting with me this time, and I'll jump right into it, but I just want to say up front that I'm showing up as not available on this. It's just the way I'm logged in, so it doesn't have my YouTube name. But yeah, if you're wondering why he's calling me that, that's why I'm being referred to that way, or why I show up as NA. All right, let's jump in.
So, what we have, not available. Are you available right now? You can say, are you idiot? It says not available.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Oh, sweet. I'm not too loud, am I?
That's okay. It sounds normal.
All right, good. It's a newer mic for me, so I'm not used to it.
Okay, and good news, we can adjust the audio if it's too loud.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up life as a reason to think that the universe has purpose. And maybe not like direct absolute proof of God's existence, but at least evidence of it. Would you be okay with that, or would you have a pushback on that?
You say there's evidence for the purpose?
Yeah, that like basically the universe was created such a way so that life could exist. So life itself is evidence of God and purpose.
Okay, but my very objection, do you want me to object here right now or later on?
Yeah, I think we should probably like at least see where we agree or disagree. Yeah.
I disagree because I don't see the evidence to claim that that was the intention or that was the purpose. Yeah, that's the result, obviously, but that doesn't mean there's intentionality in it. That doesn't mean it was the purpose. So that's why I disagree.
Would you say that that's because you just disagree that like the universe exists in a way that makes life possible? Or do you think that life is natural and that's why it's not proof?
Oh, no, like I don't claim even that the life is natural. Like I might be wrong about that. Like maybe believers are right. Maybe God or there are intelligent creators out there. They created, designed the universe. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But to be able to claim that there is such a case, we need more evidence than that, because what we see is just the result, okay? And the result doesn't say that there is an intentionality here. Yeah, there's life here, and there's no life on other planets. And I don't know, like, do you think it's logical to claim that there is no life on, let's say, Mercury intentionally? Like people intentionally didn't create life there and they're aware of it? I don't know. It's hard to make those claims for me.
Yeah, let me just make sure I understand what you're saying, because I don't want to straw man you. You're saying that most of the universe doesn't have life in it, so that makes it unlikely that the purpose of the universe is life.
It sounds like that, but I think I said more than that, or I wanted to say more than that. But let me step back, okay? Seeing life on this planet doesn't tell that that was the purpose, or that was the purpose, or someone designed it. Like we're looking at result of some causal chain. We see the result, we only read the results. To be able to claim that, there is life here and it's because of an intention, yeah, this is a result, but that was the target, that was the objective. It requires more evidence. Like to be able to claim that we need to see that there is a designer, that's not even enough. Like universe designing designers doesn't mean that they designed other things in purpose. Maybe we're just a byproduct of design. Maybe they even didn't intend to create us. Maybe we're just byproduct of a creation. So it's really hard, even if you prove that a God exists or a creator exists or a designer exists, there are a lot of steps to reach the conclusion that yes, we have been created intentionally.
Okay, I think I'm getting a clearer picture of what you're saying. So you might actually admit then, and I'm asking this just to make sure I'm not misunderstanding, you might admit that life is evidence of God, at least potentially.
Life is evidence for God?
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I'm
Oh,
far
sorry. I
from
thought you
that.
were saying like maybe life does imply God exists. I thought that's what you were saying.
Oh, I'm not saying imply, but maybe God caused us. I can say that. Maybe there's an intelligent being created us, but I'm just saying that I don't know whether that's the case or not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I can take some with that. I'd like to put the question of purpose aside for now. I think that's kind of just distracting from what I'm thinking. If you don't mind.
Okay. Let's see.
What if I said that we can know with very good certainty that life did not arise naturally? Would that be then more compelling evidence for God or no?
Certainty. That would be good
Yeah.
evidence. Not a very certain evidence, because like we are designed, or we have been created intentionally. Doesn't mean that the cause is a God. It includes.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we should start there. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nothing important. Anyway, go on.
Maybe that's a good place to start because, yeah, I guess I don't want to like come down so hard that I'm saying like you have to believe God exists if life exists. More just that like God's existence becomes much more likely given that life exists. Is that objectionable still or no?
Check like how it entails God. I mean, what's the explanation behind?
You cut out a little bit. It sounded like you asked me a question.
I don't see the correlation. I mean, how it makes it the best explanation. A God exists and God created us, or God created life. I cannot match the dots. I mean, connect the dots. Let's say.
Yeah, I would say we kind of have to like use induction a little bit. There's nothing really. I think we could like kind of exclude any inside the universe cause of life as the ultimate source of life, right? Because even if we were to say, oh, aliens design life on Earth, that just kind of kicks the can down the road, right? So then we got to figure, okay, where did those aliens come from? And then that really doesn't answer the question. So I think if we can say that life didn't develop naturally, and so whatever the original origin of life is, it wasn't natural, then it has to be something beyond the universe, if you will, supernatural. I know that word might be kind of full of luggage for you, but just supernatural in the strictest sense of just not part of nature. That's it.
It doesn't mean it's an intelligent being. Like, even if it's beyond nature, the cause, it doesn't entail God. I mean, the way that we learn from religions, at least the major ones. So
I think I would disagree with that. I'm not trying to like debate or debunk you or anything here, but I just want to kind of gently push back on that in the terms of what life is made of. The genetic code is extremely complex and specific. It's kind of like, analogously anyway, it's kind of like a book, although much more complex than that. And just inductively, we know that there's really only one thing that is able to take basically an infinite amount of options and narrow them down to one thing, the way that life is. So like DNA could have been any combination of anything. It just so happens to be combinations that are functional. I don't know anything else other than an intelligent mind that can do that. What do you think about that?
problem with that, because like you're saying that complexity entails a cause which is intelligent.
Well, complex and specific, yeah.
Yeah.
Not just complexity.
So let's suppose, and you believe that the cause of that life is outside of the universe, and also you think that probably it even created the entire universe.
Well, personally, I do. I wouldn't take the argument that far because I feel like that could kind of.
But like, I'm just want to reach a point. So let's don't say that the cause of the universe is your God, but let's say that it's an intelligent being.
Yeah.
Because now you are saying that like there's an intention here. Someone put together stuff intentionally to create the life. So we're talking about a cause which is intelligent and who knows what he's doing. And to be able to do such a thing, you need at least some specific properties like knowledge, power, source, and many other properties maybe. That also entails complexity to me. So if you say that complexity, and what was the other thing?
Complex and specific.
Specific, yeah. Like I believe that the creator of the universe must have specific properties also. Then therefore, it needs a creator too, because that cannot exist without a cause, or without an intelligent cause, or without an intention. Because like if you see something intelligent, complex, and specific properties, that tells that it needs an intelligent creator. Then you find yourself in a loop. I don't know if you're okay with it.
I guess I didn't expect to go down this road. This gets into things like divine simplicity and stuff like that, and reasons to think that whatever the ground of being is, that it would probably be ultimately simple.
Simple?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really know any good arguments for that. I'd almost prefer to table that. I guess maybe more your argument is like, okay, if life has to have an explanation because it's complex and specific, then you're saying basically God would also have to have an explanation. So God, or whatever the creator is, then wouldn't be ultimate. Wouldn't that still be an argument for God? Because let's say whatever created us is some lesser being that isn't God.
No, that would be like I'm not against God. Like I already said that. Yeah, maybe there is a God and God created, or an intelligent creator created the life and the universe. Maybe that's the case. But there are a lot of buts, because then you have to explain the creator with the same logic, and then it tells me that, hey, wait a second, that's a loop, man. Like how you're gonna save yourself from the loop? Then I stop, and then I say, oh, wait a second, then don't say that it requires an intelligent designer. It just exists. Yeah, it has these complex properties. We don't know how exactly they come together, but they're there. And if there is matter, if there's enough time, if there's enough change in a closed system, maybe they might happen to be more complex, and maybe it can cause life. Because what makes life, all those properties, they already exist in the universe. I mean, at least we can reach them. Sure, we cannot create it right now the way that it is, or we cannot create the cell, but we don't have enough time maybe, or we don't know the exact conditions. So we can assume that like it came naturally also, because the nature itself is already complex. By default, it's complex. Like look at like molecules, atoms. Like if you go deep and deep, like you will always find complexity and structure or whatever you see. So complex things make more complex things. That's possible, I think, because if they are, being in the same place for a long time, interacting with each other, we can get multiple, things out of those, combination of complexities. So that also makes sense to me. Like someone did it intentionally, or it's just, things are coming together and again and again interacting. And since the universe is too big, since there's too much matter in the universe, I say, why not? I mean, I give credit to other side also, in the same level. And that saves me from the infinite loop. I mean, if it's natural, then you just explain it like with itself. You don't need an external thing or external being to explain that. It saves me from an external explanation.
Well, in that case, I think we might be in danger of going into that loop no matter what, if the loop is genuine. And I might push back on that, but kind of that one point you brought up, I wanted to think about more, is you said we have a lot of complexity in nature, everything that we need to make life exist in nature. And I think that's a good point. That is true. But there is one thing that life has that doesn't exist in nature, and that's information that is complex and specific. There's only one place that comes from, and that's a mind. And
you're talking about mind. Like when you say information, you don't mean the information. So you're talking about consciousness.
No, I mean like literally code, like digital information, like what we have in our DNA.
But everything we see is not information.
Are you asking if everything we see is information, or
Yeah,
sorry,
I
I didn't hear
mean,
that.
every bit of the universe is just bits of information for me.
Yeah, that's true. Like if you see a supernova in the distance, it tells you information about like what the star was like before it exploded, things like that.
Yeah, but if you look at an atom, even subatomic particles, like all about information, I think.
Yeah, like down in quantum mechanics, it's almost like reality just breaks down into information.
So
but
it's
I
not
think,
all about life. That's what I mean.
well,
I mean,
life is different than that kind of information, I would argue, because, and maybe I should clarify what I mean. So there is a complexity. I think everyone knows what that means. It's just made of many parts built up together. But the specificity is kind of important. So just by way of analogy to clarify what I'm talking about, like if you take a sentence that's like 100 letters long, you have, 26 to the 100 combinations that you could possibly make out of if you were just randomly picking letters. Almost every single one of them, like effectively, there's infinite ways that sentence will be meaningless, right? And there's relatively fewer ways that it's going to be meaningful. And that same principle applies to life and the genetics that underlies us, at least in part. Like some things that doesn't apply.
oh, that's okay. I try my best to have better internet. I changed the old provider. I'm paying double for the internet, but still, that's cutting. Fuck them. So,
Well, it's a bummer. You missed a foolproof argument for God. It would have convinced you, but you weren't here for it.
Okay, so what was the last thing that I was hearing from you? Let me wrap it up.
I was trying to describe what specificity means in terms of like language, for instance, where most combinations of letters are useless or don't mean anything.
I got you. I got you.
And now I was saying DNA is the same way. So not all the time, but a lot of times it is.
But I want to point out something different.
Mm-hmm.
Like it to me, or like to us, it seems meaningful because the result is us, right? We exist and we think that our lives are meaningful or valuable. And we think, it's important, right? Like there's something here. It feels like the way that you feel like someone did it maybe. But I believe everything that you observe as special as our existence. So for example, rock, stones, okay? Whatever make them stones, if it was a little bit different, there wouldn't be stones. So that's also special, like very special. Like everything you check, doesn't matter what it is. In itself, it's very special. We kind of think we are different. I don't think we are different. I mean, sure, we're different than other things, but when it comes to being special, I think we're not. We are the same thing. We wouldn't exist if otherwise. Stones wouldn't exist if otherwise. Stars wouldn't exist if otherwise. And whatever makes them, they are right now, they're special combinations.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. What would you think about this, though? What if you find a rock in the ground and it just looks like a rock, like any other rock you've seen, more or less? You don't think much of it, right? But what if you found one that was carved into the shape that said, like, Jesus is God? You would know there was something kind of special about that rock, right?
Just carved it?
Sorry, what was that?
I would think just someone carved it, like, a Christian person loves Jesus.
Yeah, it was intentional. It's a product of a mind, something that can create information, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I'm arguing about life. I really do think it's special. And maybe I'm beating a dead horse here, but
I understand, but we don't know. If there is a God, we don't know his language. So then we cannot claim to understand what he says or whether someone is saying something or not. It's hard to tell. Like imagine, okay, like the same rock argument. Imagine a universe where there is no solid grounds. It's just all gas giants. But there are living beings made of gassy things, okay? Like, just imagine, okay, fantasy. But there is one stone in one specific planet. They found it, okay? They would think like it's like life, or it's something so special to them. So again, like what makes something special? Sometimes it's because it's rare. Life is rare so far that we found. It's just on this planet so far we have seen, and that's why it feels so special. And again, when it comes to languages, we need to understand the other side of the communicator. We need to solve the language that he's using, like even to verify that something is a language or not. Again, it requires a lot of job.
Yeah, I think hopefully I don't forget that point, because I wanted to say two things, but I'm pretty bad at balancing things in my head. To me, it's not really necessarily the rarity of life so much as it kind of falls into like a category of things that we know, like I said, things that we know that are produced by a mind. And that's really the special thing. Like finding a rock in a gas giant would be, yeah, that would be really interesting, because like, how the heck did it get there? But if it's just a regular rock, it's like, okay, it is what it is. I definitely forgot the second point I was going to make, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of, maybe I need to find a different way to say it, or maybe I'm just beating a dead horse. I don't know. So that's pretty much it. It's not going to go anywhere after this. I thought this was a pretty interesting conversation, because Philosopher is actually pretty open-minded, seemingly anyway. There were a few parts where I couldn't tell if they were trying to obscure the issue or distract from it, or if they were just, there was like a communication issue too, because I suspect that English isn't their first language. So I don't know. I'm also ADD, and I had a little bit of nerves, just to be honest with you. What I was trying to do, and you can probably see a few points where I stumble in there, but what I was trying to do was stay on track and get them just on one issue, which was the existence of life and whether or not this counts as evidence for God. I think it's kind of unexpected for most people, because they kind of just figure everyone's going to just go with the party line that evolution is completely natural, it's completely God-free, and it definitely happened, and if you question it, then you're just wrong. So I like to take that tact, I think, because it's a little bit unexpected, and I think because I know so much about it, it usually puts them in a place where they have to really think about what they're going to say, and they don't just fall back on cliches. At least that's the intent anyway. There's a couple of times where I felt like we were kind of getting off track. We're starting to get into things like, if the creator of life is complex and that requires an explanation. I probably, in hindsight, I could have had a better answer for that. The problem that I was having, though, is I did not want to go down that road. It was off the topic of life, and I just don't, what am I going to do if you say the creator is complex, and then I go, here's an argument for why they wouldn't be, then we're just down that path. They're not going to agree with that argument, and then we're just lost in the woods. So I wanted to stay focused, and so I kind of maybe came off a little bit like I was dodging it, but that wasn't really my intent. I just needed to get to my point, I guess. But it's one of those things where everyone has a plan until the first punch is thrown, and that's kind of one probably lesson I'll take away from this, is that you can't account for the other person. You have your plan, what you want to talk about, but the other person also has their agenda and what they want to talk about. So it really just is one of those things you have to be able to adapt on your feet, and so that's definitely something I want to be more prepared for next time. Is this time I had a little bit of nerves, so I wanted to hit my point and not get too far off in the weeds. And also not, I didn't want to misunderstand them or straw man them. So you notice I'm constantly checking, like, what are you saying? Are you saying this? I still feel like there's probably a few parts where I lost it. But anyway, the point is that next time, because whatever path you start on is going to start meandering a little bit, I think you got to have a better answer, if only like a better way to get things back on track other than, I wasn't prepared to talk about this. So that's definitely something I'll work on. Had I been able to stay focused completely on the topics that I wanted to address, where I was trying to lead him is, hey, we only know of one thing that produces information, and information of a specific kind. Like, it's complex information and it's specific, meaning that I talked about this in the video, but just really in short is that the information has to be an exact specific way in order to function. Some people will quibble about that with genetics, but to an extent that's unarguably true. And having that in place, all I wanted was just a mild concession from him, or I guess I don't know this person, but all I wanted was a mild concession from them that this was at least some evidence of God. I just want to introduce that crack, because when you're dealing with atheists, these are people that are so far away from your worldview and your presuppositions that you're not, in one conversation, in my opinion, you're never going to convince someone to change their mind about God and about all these things, to just completely upend everything that they believe and that they presuppose. except by a miracle, which is totally possible. But short of that, if I could just get a crack in there, if I can just get them to admit, hey, all right, there's some evidence, and leave them with something to think about, then I'm happy with that. Problem is that I could tell I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want to come off as condescending, but it seemed like Philosopher wasn't quite getting the point. They kept trying to distract into like, oh, some things are rare, and it's like, well, I'm not talking about rarity, even though life is rare, that's true. And it's like, well, other things are complex. And it's like, yes, other things are complex, but they're not also specific, the way that like language and DNA is. But I just couldn't quite. It was kind of like trying to nail down a runny egg on the wall. I couldn't get him to get on that point, and then I started to kind of feel like I was losing him. That's maybe where more experience would come in handy, where I can find a way to reel someone back in when you're kind of find yourself repeating yourself and losing the other person. But anyway, I still really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to doing more, and hopefully you enjoyed it too. Bye.